Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry about that. I would like to welcome you all to this press conference as BK Group PLC presents its financial performance for Q1 2025 results. My name is Bob Rutarindwa, and I'll be moderating this press conference. Now, with us today is BK Group CEO, Dr. Uzziel Ndagijimana, Bank of Kigali CEO, Dr. Diane Karusisi, and BK Group CFO Anita Umuhire, who will take us through the financial results. After the presentations, we'll also have a Q&A session with our media partners to get more insights about the results. Now, without further ado, allow me to also invite again BK Group CEO, Dr. Uzziel, for his opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Dear members of the media, let me also start by welcoming you to our regular quarterly press conference. And I thank you for joining us for today's announcement of BK Group financial results for the first quarter 2025. I'll be brief because we have shared with you the comprehensive press release. So briefly, in quarter one, BK Group achieved a net income of 25.2 billion RWF francs compared to 23.9 billion that were achieved in the same quarter in 2024, which represents a growth of 5.4%. Total assets of the group increased by 3.3% in quarter one, from 2.5 trillion RWF francs to 2.6 trillion RWF francs. And our shareholders' equity increased by 5.6% from 438 billion RWF francs to 463 billion RWF francs. Our bank increased loans to 1.55 trillion from 1.45 trillion distributed previous year, which represent a growth of 6.5% since last year. We also mobilized deposits, which increased by 2.3% from 1.6 trillion last year to 1.68 trillion in quarter one of this year. The group continued to record above industry profitability metrics with the bank's return on equity of 25.9% versus industry average of 22.5%, and the return on assets of 4% versus industry average of 3.2%. Our business was supported by a conducive macroeconomic environment. As you recall, the country achieved a growth of 8% in the last quarter of 2024. The inflation was decreased from 6.4% at the end of last year to 4.8% at the end of March this year. And also we had a moderate depreciation of our national currency. Going forward, the group is committed to building on this momentum for greater achievements in the next 3 quarters. I now invite the CEO, Bank of Kigali, to give more details on the bank's performance in quarter one this year. I thank you. But before that, before you ask the question, let me or summarized in Kinyarwanda for our wider audience. Nongeye gushimira abanyamakuru bitabiriye iki kiganiro tujyana buri gihembwe kugira ngo tubagezeho ibyagezweho na BK Group. Muri make twakomeje kugira urwunguko rwiza mu gihembwe cya mbere cy'umwaka, twungutse miliyari 25.2 by'amafaranga y'u Rwanda. Bigaragara ko urwunguko rwazamutseho 5.4% ugereranye n'igihembwe cya mbere cy'umwaka ushize. Umutungo rusange wazamutseho 3.3% ugera kuri miliyari 2,600 y'amafaranga y'u Rwanda. Inguzanyo zahawe abakiriya zariyongereyeho 6.5%, zigera kuri miliyari zisaga 1,500 z'amafaranga y'u Rwanda. Ikindi nuko abakiriya bacu nanone bongereye ububiko, amafaranga babitsa muri bank yazamutseho 2.3% bagera kuri miliyari zisaga 680 z'amanyarwanda. Kandi muri icyo gihe nanone twagize imikorere myiza inashingiye ku myitwarire myiza y'ubukungu bw'igihugu, bwazamutse ku gipimo cyo hejuru kigera ku 8% mu gihembwe cya 4 cy'umwaka ushize. Ndetse n'ibiciro, umuvuduko w'ibiciro baragabanutse ku isoko, ndetse n'igabanuka ry'agaciro k'u Rwanda naryo ryari rigereranyije. Ibintu byose bituma n'ibindi bikorwa byacu nabyo bigenda neza. Tukaba twizera ko mu bihembwe bitatu bisigaye by'umwaka tuzakomeza kugera ku musaruro ushimishije. Rero nsaba umuyobozi wa Banki ya Kigali muri make kubagezaho ibyo banki ubwayo nayo yagezeho muri uyu mwaka. Nk'uko mubizi, nicyo kigo kinini kigize BK Group. Murakoze.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oziel. I'll join you in welcoming everyone who's following us as we present our results for Q1 2025. As Dr. Oziel said, I think we've continued to grow our business lines across the group, in particular for the bank. We trade on money, and we are happy to report that we've increased our lending to different segments of the economy, corporate, SME, agribusiness, but also retail. We've grown our net loans by 6.4% compared to where we were at the end of 2024. And I'm happy to report that this growth has been pretty much equally divided into the various segments of the economy, and agribusiness in particular taking a large share. I'm also happy to report that we started a few years ago an exercise to reduce the operating expenses of the bank. And this quarter again, we've been able to reduce our costs of operations by 8.8% year on year, which is why we are able to achieve a profitability that is very attractive for our shareholders, and will also position the bank as a leading organization in the country. With regards to products, maybe I'll talk about a few products that have been highlighted this quarter. The first one is a BK Quick Plus, which is a digital loan. People can access up to 50 million yes. So I was talking about BK Quick Plus. It's a product that allows individuals to access up to 50 million under 15 hours. And they can do this from the comfort of their homes, applying for a loan on the application or internet banking and receive the money in less than 24 hours. So this is something that we've seen gaining a lot of traction as people try to access finance for various reasons, paying school fees, investments, etc. I would also want to talk about the impact that we are having in our communities. We have a foundation that has been able to deploy grants and funding in different sectors of the economy. So in this past quarter, we've focused on education, and we dispersed many scholarships. The year to date, I think we've dispersed over 500 scholarships to students across the country, and this is something that we'll continue doing. I think that's what I wanted to say, and our CFO, Anita, will provide details on the profitability of the bank and the group in the first quarter of 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Diane, and good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to take you through the financial performance, specifically or largely of the bank for the first quarter of 2025, where, as mentioned, we were able to record a profit after tax of 25.2 billion, which was 12.2% increase year on year. This performance continues to be driven largely by the top line being interest income, which at 65 billion recorded in quarter one was 10% higher than the previous year, the first quarter of the previous year, and this was mainly from the growth that we've observed in the loan book in excess of 100 billion. On interest expense, we will note an increase there year on year of 15%. However, the trend is very positive. In the first quarter of the year, we were able to offload and reprice some costly term deposits that have then resulted in a reduction in the cost of funds by around 20 basis points in quarter one alone to 3.2% as the cost of funds. And of course, this outlook continues to be positive going forward as well. On net interest margin, however, there the trend is downward. Our NIM at the end of December was around 9.2%, having come down to around 8.7% at the end of quarter one, which on one side is reflective of the general trend that we've noted of interest rates that have been coming down. If you look, for example, at the yields on placement or even government securities, Q1 this year compared to quarter one last year, there is about 150 basis points reduction. So that has indeed affected our yield on earning assets. In addition to that, we've also had a bit of pressure on our loan yield just due to the general competitive landscape. And so this is why you'll note there some pressure on the net interest margin, and again, a greater emphasis on managing our cost of funds. On non-funded income, our performance was lower than last year, quarter one, by around 19.1%. And this was mainly due to the uniqueness of quarter one last year, where we had several key significant transactions that were once off that have of around 2.6 billion in total. And of course, this has left a gap at quarter one that will be filled gradually in the remaining quarters of the year. However, FX income continues to do well. We recorded 5.3 billion in quarter one, which is an 18% year-on-year increase. On operating expenses, as Dr. Diane mentioned, total operating expenses at 20.2 billion were 8.8% lower than the previous year, with a cost-to-income ratio of 32.6%, down from 36.7% last year. This is despite the fact that our staff costs actually increased by 24.5%, as of course we continue to invest in our people, but we were able to manage and reduce the other administrative and operating expenses and thereby overall reducing our OPEX. Net loan loss provisions have reduced also year on year by 16.4%, and this is due to a general improvement in the asset quality, whereas at the end of Q1, our cost of risk was 1.6% against last year's 2.2%. Quickly looking at the statement of financial position, overall the balance sheet grew by around 3.5% to 2.55 trillion, financed by the growth in customer deposits as well as balances with banks. On the loan side, gross loans experienced around 100 billion increase year to date to 1.622 trillion. And as mentioned also by Dr. Diane, we've seen growth in most of our business segments. And the NPL ratio at the end of Q1 was 3.6%. On deposits, total deposits, customer deposits increased by 2.2% to 1.692 trillion. What's very positive to note there is, as just mentioned, with offloading costly term deposit while at the same time mobilizing what we call CASA, current account and savings account, we were not only able to improve our cost of funding, but we were also able to improve the overall concentration customer-wise and business segment-wise as well. Overall, in terms of our ratio, our return on average assets remained constant at around 4%. However, with an improvement in return on average equity, which was 26.2% at the bank for Q1, with the main driver in ROE being improvement in profitability, with a net profit margin of 40.7% against last year's 36.3%. In terms of our capital adequacy ratio, that also improved by 60 basis points, mainly due to a reduction in the market risk-weighted assets. I think we'll pause there just to leave some time for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CFO Anita. Thank you very much, CEO Uziel, and thank you very much, CEO Diane, for giving us more insights into BK Group's Q1 2025 financials. Allow me to also introduce another panelist on our team, Mr. Ange Niranyibagirwa, who is the head of finance at BK Group, who is with us today. Now, before we also dive into further insights, I would like to welcome our media partners, as now we're getting into the moment of a Q&A session where they will directly interact with our senior management to understand more about BK Group financials. Yes, please. And before, maybe tell us your name, the media house, and then the question. Thank you very much.
Murakoze, nitwa Ndahaye Emmanuel, nifuzaga kubaza mu Kinyarwanda nkorera igihe. Ndashaka kubaza kuri banki ya Kigali particularly. Turabona mu nguzanyo mutanga igice kinini kijya muri corporate ndetse n'ibindi bigo. Hari nk'uko mwanabigarutseho n'izindi nzego mugenda mushyiramo inguzanyo, ariko ukabona ko iki gice cya corporate aricyo cyihariye igice kinini cy'inguzanyo mutanga. Twifuzaga kubabaza nka gahunda ihari kugira ngo n'ibindi bice bizamuka, ubwo ndavuga in terms of percentage y'inguzanyo mu distributing mu zindi sectors. Ikindi twifuzaga ko mwanagaruka birambuye wenda ku mishinga mufite muri uyu mwaka kugira ngo murusheho kugera ku ntego zanyu, especially mu buryo bwo kongera niba nabyita urwunguko dividends muha aba shareholders banyu. Murakoze.
Murakoze cyane kuri icyo kibazo mubajije. Nibyo koko inguzanyo zijya mu mishinga minini cyangwa mu companies manini niyo nyinshi iyo ugereranyije n'inguzanyo zitangwa mu bigo bitoya n'ibiciriritse ndetse no mu baturage, mu bantu bashaka kwiteza imbere. Ni ibintu bimaze imyaka myinshi, ariko gahunda dufite nuko dufite strategy yo kureba ukuntu inguzanyo zijya mu bigo bito n'ibiciriritse yiyongera, ndetse n'inguzanyo dutanga mu bantu bagura amazu cyangwa biteza imbere nazo ziyongera. Ubu ngubu turashaka ko intego twihaye nuko mu mwaka wa 27 tuzaba twagejeje kuri ku rugero rwa 60% zatangwa muri corporate, hanyuma 40% agatangwa mu zindi sectors, hakaba na sectors y'ubuhinzi n'ubworozi. Twatangiye strategy yo gutanga inguzanyo mu buhinzi n'ubworozi hashize imyaka 2 gusa, ariko iyo ureba ubu ngubu tumaze kugera kuri miliyari 60 yatanzwe mu buhinzi no mu bworozi, ariko gahunda dufite no kugeza kuri nibura miliyari 150 mu buhinzi n'ubworozi. Hari imishinga myinshi tubona izatanga umusaruro. Hari imishinga iri muri Gabiro, hari imishinga yo kongera amata mu gihugu, hari dukorana n'amakoperative menshi ari mu buhinzi no mu bworozi. Twibaza ko bizadufasha kugira ngo twongere inguzanyo zitangwa muri iyo sector. Ikibazo cya kabiri mwabajije ni imishinga minini dufite. Mu by'ukuri iyo ureba ukuntu isoko rimeze na competition ihari, tubona ko hari imishinga minini hari umushinga twese tuzi, umushinga wa Bugesera airport watangiye, tubonamo twebwe nka banki, ariko n'ayandi mabanki amahirwe menshi ko birumvikana ko hari amasosiyete menshi azakorera muri iyo mushinga. Twibaza ko hazaba amahirwe nka banki kugira ngo dutange inguzanyo kugira ngo umushinga utere imbere. Uwundi mushinga uhari ni Bugesera nanone muri special economic zone, nayo ni umushinga watangiye kandi tubonamo amahirwe ko hazaza inganda nyinshi mu Bugesera, nabyo zatanga amahirwe ko banki zitanga amafaranga muri iyo mishinga, muri izo nganda, ariko n'abantu bakora muri izo nganda nabo bazegera banki kugira ngo bashoboye kwiteza imbere. Mu buryo bw'imishinga dufite hagati muri banki, hari umushinga wo gukomeza korohereza abantu kubona inguzanyo mu buryo bw'ikoranabuhanga, kuko twabonye ko abantu benshi nta muntu ugishaka kuza muri banki kuzuza inyandiko kugira ngo abone inguzanyo. Nibyo twagezeho nk'uko mubizi muri gahunda ya Bigereho na Beka, umuntu ashobora kubona inguzanyo igeze kuri miliyoni 50 ataje muri banki, byose yabikoreye kuri telefone cyangwa kuri internet. Ni ibintu dushaka gukomeza. Turashaka no gukorana n'ibigo by'itumanaho mu buryo twatanga inguzanyo mu bantu wenda badafite konti muri Beka, ariko bafitanye imikoranire n'ibigo by'itumanaho. Turibaza ko bizatuma abantu benshi babona access ku nguzanyo kugira ngo bakomeze kwiteza imbere. Ikindi kintu mu rwego rwa group, nk'uko mubizi dutanga services zitandukanye z'imari, hari inguzanyo, hari ubwishingizi, hari kwizigamira. Byose turashaka kubihuza hamwe ku buryo umuntu ukorana na Beka yabona n'ubwishingizi afite akabibona mu buryo bw'ikoranabuhanga, yabona n'ukuntu yizigamira izo products zitangwa na BK Capital nka Aguka, kandi umuntu abona interest iri hejuru. So byose turashaka kubihuza hamwe kugira ngo tworohereze abakiriya kubona amaservice yose mu buryo bw'ikoranabuhanga. Murakoze.
Murakoze cyane CEO Diane ku bisobanuro mutanze kuri services za Beka, harimo cyane na campaign ya Bigereho, aho abakiriya bashobora kwiguriza amafaranga miliyoni 50 bakoresheje ikoranabuhanga. nagira ngo twakire ikindi kibazo niba hari undi muntu ufite. Yes, mwatwibwira n'ikinyamakuru mukorera. Yes.
Murakoze cyane, nitwa Placide Nyinshuti, nkorera RBA. Biragaragara ko banki ya Kigali rwose iri kugenda ibona urwunguko rwiza, kandi akaba na banki ikomeye, ariko ikibazo cyanjye kiraganisha kubirebana n'ikoranabuhanga muri serivisi z'imari. Mu bihe bishize Central Bank yatangaje ko hari amasezerano bagiranye n'igihugu na Central Bank yo muri Cambodia, bagaragaza ko hari imikoranire bifuza kugirana irebana no guteza imbere fintech, ariko by'umwihariko kuri technology yitwa blockchain, kandi bikagaragara ko igihugu cya Cambodia cyo kimaze imyaka igeze kuri 5 gikoresha ifaranga koranabuhanga, aho bafatanya n'izindi banki z'ubucuruzi cyangwa zikora commercial banks ziwabo. Nkibaza nti mwebwe hari aho wenda mwaba muhuriye n'iryo koranabuhanga rya blockchain, wenda bazafasha banki nkuru y'u Rwanda gushyira mu bikorwa iryo koranabuhanga ryo kwishyurana hakoreshejwe ubwo buryo. Ikindi kibazo cya kabiri kirarebana no ku mibare igaragaza ko inguzanyo zitishyurwa neza, bigaragara ko ziyongereho ibice bikeya ugereranyije n'umwaka wari wabanje. Bigaragara ko zibarirwa kuri 3.6 mu gihe umwaka ushize zazi kuri 3.2. Turifuza kumenya icyo mutekereza kugira ngo mugabanye uyu mubare, cyangwa se aho kugira ngo byongere be byagabanuka muri banki yanyu. Murakoze.
Murakoze cyane kuri ibyo bibazo mubajije. Nibyo koko natwe turakurikirana nk'abantu bakora umwuga wa banki, turakurikirana ikoranabuhanga rigezweho rwa blockchain nk'uko byavuzwe na Central Bank. Ntabwo turatangira kubishyira mu bikorwa, ariko turabyigana na Central Bank ku buryo nibitangira natwe tuzashobore kurikoresha. Ikigamijwe nuko koreza amafaranga muri banki biba vuba, real time, kandi igiciro ikiguzi kikagabanuka cyane. So nibyo iyo blockchain ikora, ku buryo amafaranga abantu bashobora kuherekanya amafaranga mu buryo bwihuse cyane kandi buhendutse. Ibintu natwe tuzabigiramo inyungu, kuko mu kazi dukora ka buri munsi abantu bohereza amafaranga kandi bakishyura. Ubu ngubu bitwara imbaraga nyinshi, ingufu nyinshi muri systems dukoresha, ariko iyi koranabuhanga izatuma byoroha cyane. Ni ibintu natwe dukurikirana, nibitangira natwe tuzaba turi ready to plug in ku buryo twakoresha ayo mafaranga y'ikoranabuhanga. Ikindi kibazo mwabajije kuri inguzanyo zitishyurwa neza, NPL, nibyo koko byarazamutseho gatoya, bigeze kuri 3.6%, bivuye kuri 3.2%. Dukomeza kubwira abakiriya bacu kwitwara neza no kwitwararika n'amafaranga ya banki. Ni ibintu byatanze umusaruro, kuko iyo ureba aho twari turi mu myaka ishize turi hejuru ya 7%, ubu ngubu tumaze kugera kuri 3.6%. Aho tubona ko hakiri ikibazo ni muri nguzanyo zitangwa ku masosiyete matoya n'ayaciriritse. Nibyo niho tubona ko hakiri ikibazo, ariko tukomeza kubakangurira ko bakoresha amafaranga ya banki kugira ngo batisanga muri ibyo bibazo. Twizeye ko mu mpera z'umwaka tuzongera tukagabanya iyi NPL ikagaruka around ibice 3%. Nibyo navuga kuri ibyo bibazo mwabajije. Murakoze.
Murakoze CEO Diane. Ngira ngo twakire ikindi kibazo niba hari umuntu ufite ikibazo. Okay, ubwo ntawe. Nagira ngo mbashimire CEOs and CFO and our head of finance at BK Group ku bisobanuro byiza mumaze kuduha bya performance ya BK Group Q1 2025. As we now close, we come to the end of the press conference. I would like to also call upon BK Group CEO Dr. Uziel for your closing remarks.
Rakoze Bob, nagira ngo nongere nshimire abanyamakuru bacu bitabira ikiganiro kandi tunabasaba kudutumikira bagatanga amakuru kuri uyu musaruro twagaragaje n'abatumira nanone mu mpera y'igihembwe gitaha ubwo tuzatubagezaho umusaruro w'igihembwe cya kabiri cy'umwaka. Murakoze.